VoyMonk vlog number 89, and it is Friday. Yeah, we're almost through all this. Yeah, that's right. And so, yeah, going into this end of the month, and actually, no, this is 28th. No leap year this year. So, yeah, things will be coming and changing in terms of the channel. I do have some ideas in terms of, I think I'll probably do this with an extra voiceover or an extra, video or something to that effect. I was thinking of doing some recommendations, maybe things that are coming now that spring is sprung or springing and it's going to be sprung in a few weeks here. I'm kind of thinking in terms of what's coming up, what I think would be kind of interesting to maybe take a look at. And so I might be doing something either in a voiceover or an extra. And so probably, keep an ear or an eye out for that. Yeah, pretty happy, February has been a heck of a month. Hell, it's been a heck of a year thus far. But I think it'll be interesting to kind of see as things develop as far as, everything that we've seen thus far. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of curious what'll happen in the summer as far as some of the summer blockbuster films and things of that nature. I think with the Palisades fires and some of the actors and some of the studios and stuff like that, it's probably not going to be much of an issue this year, but I'm probably guessing there's going to be some major impacts due to a lot of things that ravaged through in and out around Southern California. So it's unfortunate. Anybody's in a situation where they've lost so much and things, and with everything else that's going on too, I think I'm certainly not trying to be callous to the fact that, there are a lot of other things that are going on right now besides entertainment. Like I said, I like to keep things light, keep it fun, keep it loose, and that kind of thing. But there are some films that I'm looking forward to coming out in this spring and, of course, in the summer. But I think I'm going to at least try to compile maybe kind of a list. Because it won't be scripted, but like I said, I think I can do a list and give you some maybe some points of what I'd like to see. And I'm actually thinking about doing some reviews. I did at one point kind of consider doing reaction stuff, but again, I haven't looked enough into it. I'm still kind of, I'm sure that I don't want to do it. I'm still looking into it and see what it is. But for the most part, that really feels and seems like a kind of a road that's not a real fit for this channel. I've said this, and I don't want this to seem to be an attack, but I really kind of question how genuine some of the reactions actually are. Now, there's obviously a lot of things, most things, everything that I don't know about it, but and I do like reaction videos. I love watching them. I think they're fun to watch. I think it's funny to see people's reactions to things, although, like I said, the authenticity thing, kind of makes me wonder. I mean, I see some of the same clips, the same particular points, and maybe that's just because the style and the way that it's done, that, they're all very similar in terms of points and, whatever. I mean, they can't show the entire film for obviously copyright points or reasons, but I think I do kind of have concerns about that if I did that. So if I do something in terms of like similar as best that I would do, I would probably just do a review of a film, and obviously, you know, if it's one that's just been released or whatever, would put spoiler warnings and things like that in case, you know, someone hasn't seen it. But it won't just be newer movies. It'll be a lot of probably 80s, 90s movies, and give you some recommendations depending on who you are. If, I don't know, I guess I'd be kind of concerned about the age of some of the people that could be listening. You know, I'm not trying to, I don't know. I don't think, I don't know that anyone younger would be listening to me. When I say younger, I'm saying be like younger than the age of 20 or something like that. I can't imagine. But if that's true and I'm wrong, by all means, let me know. But when I say younger, I'm thinking more kind of like in the 30-ish range, people who might be more millennials or whatnot that haven't seen maybe some older films, maybe give some recommendation. Of course, entertain recommendations from other people who like things. I can tell you right now, I'm not really much of a superhero film type of person. I'm not trying to act like a snob, but it's just, I don't know. Nowadays, it seems like you've seen one, you kind of see them all. And I do like comic books and the source material from which a lot of these come from. I'm not saying that I hate superhero movies. I'm not saying that they're bad or they don't have a place or they shouldn't be made or any of that. I just, for me, I think sometimes you can go to the well one too many times with any kind of content. And, you know, there actually used to be a once upon a time when I was younger that I craved the amount of superhero films that could have been or would be now. It's just that so much of the content that I've seen really just seems like, I mean, I don't know. I guess for them recasting yet another recycled actor for what is another character. I mean, I don't dislike Robert Downey Jr. or anything like that, but come on, he played Tony Stark, right? I mean, how is it going to be, you know, how is it going to like feel watching the film? And I mean, they did it with Chris Evans, right, who played Johnny Storm and eventually went on to do Captain America. And now they're doing the same thing with Robert Downey Jr. And I'm not saying poo-poo or it's a bad idea. I mean, they do the recycling actor bit quite a lot. It's just that, I mean, are you telling me you couldn't find anybody else better to play the lead role of as villain? I mean, Doctor Doom. I mean, I think, and I'm not trying to be negative. I think Robert Downey Jr. nailed Tony Stark. In fact, if they're going to go with a different Tony Stark, I think they're going to have a hard time replacing him. I don't know anybody that I can imagine in that role. And so just as that, I don't know that I can, after kind of being used to Tony Stark being Robert Downey Jr., then shift gears and still, you know, not find him believable, find him believable as Doctor Doom, you know, and I'm certainly willing to, hopefully that I'm wrong. It looks like it could be otherwise an okay film or whatever, but yeah. I think sometimes, again, you can go to the well one too many times. I know Superman is right around the corner, and I don't know how many times I've seen the reincarnation of Superman along with Batman. Like I said, they're not bad films. There's, you know, and if I can lead by example and just make it clear that just because it isn't for me does not mean that it's a bad film. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be made. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have its own artistic merit. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be recognized by the, by the Academy Awards or anyone that, you know, works in that field or exist. Any of those things. I just think that not always all things for all people, and that certainly applies to me. It's not something that's my thing, but you know, and I'm also not going to be closed-minded and say, no, I won't see it if I see something appealing. It's just so far, and we're just going into March, that I haven't seen anything that really makes me want to see it. And I think the same could be said for things that aren't superhero films. I'm also not necessarily interested in Jurassic Park 50 or Jurassic World or whatever we're calling it now. It's not that it's a bad film. It's just that sometimes you can go to the well one too many times. I mean, I think Jurassic World, the first time kind of a reboot of the franchise, was a nice touch. But I think eventually after the second or third film, it kind of fell into the same trap that the first franchise ran into with the Jurassic Park trilogy, or actually I think it was more of a trilogy, but whatever. It's the fact that, sometimes there just isn't a story to tell, or it isn't a story that's worth, and maybe I should be careful in saying this, but it doesn't seem like it's a story that's worth telling. We're not going anyplace. I think with superhero films, one of the things that I generally have the consensus and the feeling about now, and I think it had to do with going back to the Zack Snyder film with the Justice League, and the fact that the original Justice League kind of got thrown under a bus a little bit, and maybe rightfully so. I'm not trying to get into the whole politics of the thing. I just think the fact that the studio capitulated and caved because a certain segment, people made demands of something, which I didn't quite agree with in terms of, whatever. I mean, yeah, sometimes, something's just not the way that you expect it to be, or not whatever. But I don't think the way to remedy that is by saying, we'll cave and we'll give you the other story that maybe you wanted because, whatever. When I think of art, when I think of whatever, and trust me, there's plenty of things that I've seen that I've not liked, that I was completely disappointed with, but I don't think I would ever reach a point where I thought, well, I'm just going to voice my discontent in that if I'll not watch your films, or, I'll start a campaign in, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not picking on or attacking anyone specifically. And I certainly understand that there can be importance when it comes to things that people love and have a passion for. But I just think overall it's missed when, we get those kinds of reactions from the studios that obviously want to make money. There's the business is the bigger part of the show business. But nonetheless, I think if you whet people's appetite to the idea that they don't like something, they're not happy with, they then just get to decide what it is and how it is something is made. I'm not a fan of that. I don't agree with that. And I think maybe some of these superhero movies maybe kind of are showing themselves to be that. I mean, we've had one reboot after the other, and usually the time span is maybe 10 years, maybe, close to a decade. I don't know how long it's been since the last Superman. Maybe it's been 10 years. I'm getting older. But, I mean, what else is there to tell? I mean, the story doesn't get furthered. It just gets kind of pushed back, and it's just like, I mean, what are we doing? And I know that, some people might say, well, this is something different. I know, I get that. I mean, if I like the original, I would go back and watch the original. It's just that I just think, and this is from my perspective, if you're going to have a sequel, maybe you don't need to do a reboot entirely just because something went off the rails. And I honestly, I'm not Siskel or Ebert per se. I mean, I'm not saying I'm an expert or an authority. I certainly don't mean to come off as that. But I just think, is it possible that the imagination could go somewhere else other than, and I'll pick Star Trek because this is the one that I didn't like, where we're creating an alternative timeline. Like, really? Why do we have to do that? I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but I didn't like it. And like I said, I mean, that was just me. I don't understand. Yeah, if Star Trek The Next Generation wasn't the commercial success that it ought it to be, maybe it could be improved on from there. Does it have to be a reboot? Because since they've done the reboot, it seems like the first one did phenomenal. It really brought a lot of new fans to Star Trek. But the then follow-up subsequential, Star Treks, I don't know if it was so as much, of a success. Was it really knock out of the park better, the follow-ups as was The Next Generation? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I don't think so. But then again, the standards of today's film is, I mean, I remember when Jurassic Park, the original, the first one, did close to what, it was $1 billion or more, and that was just considered like amazing. I mean, when you do a cost analysis for based on the year and inflation and all that stuff, I don't think anything was as close to Jurassic Park since, I think, E.T. I mean, I could be wrong, but I most certainly probably am. But like I said, it was a lot. But now, I mean, you can literally have films that almost make $1 billion, and I'll literally hear people talk about what a failure it was, how it didn't live up to the hype, and I mean, it made over $1 billion. Some of these make close to over $1 billion, and they're not considered a success. And then I think the thing that kind of blows my mind is that people say, well, yeah, when you look at budget, it's not taking into consideration like advertising and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, really? And I'm speaking mostly about Black Adam, more specifically. I think people were saying that like it barely broke even or made just a little over. And I don't blame. I actually did. That was actually one of the one superhero movies that I did watch, but it wasn't in the theater, obviously, because like I said, I don't really do superhero films, but yeah, I don't think it was good. It wasn't good. That's not because of any one element. It was probably across the board. I didn't think the story made any sense. I didn't think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's acting was all that stellar either, but I mean, he's playing the part of, I don't think there was a lot of depth here as much as it was kind of presented. And then of course the direction, it kind of felt a bit all over the place. I didn't really understand the presence of yet. I mean, it wasn't the Justice League. It seemed like the Justice League B team or something, and it just it wasn't a good film. And I guess I'm not trying to be ultra negative. It's just how I felt. Could be wrong. I'm sure other people have different opinions, but like I said, But in the grand scheme of things, I was surprised that it made nearly close to $1 billion, as much as I could tell. And then I'm hearing and reading people say, but no, it was a failure. I mean, and the thing is, in the critical sense, I could see probably why. But if it still made close to $1 billion, I'm kind of thinking, what is everyone talking about? I mean, isn't this good? It's apparently not, because DCU or whatever, if I'm not saying that right, rebooted the whole damn thing as I don't know if it was a result of that or whatever, but they rebooted the whole damn thing, and Henry Cavill got the boot, so now we got a new Superman. So I don't know. But I'll keep an open mind, like I said. And if I have some films that I've seen, I'll share them and give you a heads up, obviously. And then if there's, of course, things coming up, I think maybe you want to take a look at. I'll let you know there. If I did a kind of reaction for that, I think, I don't know, maybe if I did reactions, especially putting my beautiful ugly face on the video to do them, it might be like trailers, but probably only if I can make that make sense. So, yeah. Hopefully you have a great February 28th. Enjoy the last day. And you're getting ready for the spring equinox, I think, right? And everything is to come. You know, maybe it's time to clean out the closets and do the spring cleaning or whatever. We'll see as it goes. Anyways, this is going to be the Friday vlog number 89. And I thank you for listening. And hopefully you like what you hear. You know what to do. Comment, rate, subscribe. Do that once. But until my next video, take care.